Globalization is the process of international integration arising from the interchange of world views, products, ideas, and other aspects of culture. Advances in transportation such as steam locomotive, steamships, jet engine, container ships, and in telecommunications infrastructure, including the rise of telegraph and its modern offspring. The Internet and mobile phones have been the major factors in globalization, generating further interdependence of economic and cultural activities. Why did globalization emerge? Globalization often appears to be a force of nature, a phenomenon without bounds or alternative, but people's movements have shown that it is neither unalterable or inevitable. Citizens all over the world, ordinary people from the global north and south, can work together to shape alternate futures, to build globalization of cooperation, solidarity, and respect for our common planetary environment. Terrorism is not new, and even though it has been used since the early times of recorded history, it can be relatively hard to define terrorism. Terrorism has been described variously as both a tactic and a strategy, a crime and a holy duty, a justified reaction to oppression and inexcusable abomination. Obviously, a lot depends on whose point of view is being represented. Terrorism has been an effective tactic for the weaker side in a conflict. In most cases, what caused the terrorist attacks of the 20th century? The first half of the 20th century saw two events that influenced the nature of conflict to the present day. The effects of two world wars inflamed passions and hopes of nationalists throughout the world, and severely damaged the legitimacy of the international order and governments. On September 11, 2001, 19 million associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda hacked 4 airlines and carried out suicide attacks against targets in the United States. Unipolarity is used to describe the power structure when one superpower dominates alone. The end of the Cold War meant that the previous decade's superpower rivalry now had ended. There was no longer the traditional East versus West conflict, at least not the way they had been earlier in the 20th century. So, how does the end of the Cold War relate with the unipolar world? The end of the Cold War started the division of power into an unipolar world. Thanks to the countries that wanted power, the United States could rise as the main source of power in the world. The digital era is characterized by technology which increases the speed and breadth of knowledge turnover within the economy and society. How has the digital era influenced today's society? The digital era has influenced us all. Every one of us has cell phones or gadgets in our hands. The next generations have learned to use technology even before talking. And most information is now located in the web. Almost every activity we do is related to digitalization, and thanks to this, our lives have become easier in many ways.